It's your call with John Penny and Dwayne Long.
How you doing, buddy?
Hey, I'm good, doing great. How are you doing?
That's how we should open every show. We are buddies.
Yes,
Have
we
been
are.
for a long time.
Oh,
now.
many moons have passed.
Yes.
Yes. Hey, it's a sports show, right?
It is a sports show. Today we got a good one.
Oh, we do. What's it
Yes.
about?
About sports mostly.
Oh, well, that's good. I'm glad to hear that.
What if-
otherwise, we made it to the right show. I mean,
Yes.
we're here.
Well, you're driving. We're lucky we're here.
That's true.
Dancing show.
A dancing show?
Yeah.
That would not look good.
No.
We could do the end zone dances.
I could do better than most of those end zone dances. Is this the stupidest thing in football? Stop it. Just stop it. Stop all that. You know what you look like? You look like a terrible version of the kids on the Little Rascals. That's what you look like. It's stupid.
You know, dancing in the end zone could possibly be a sport.
Anymore.
Because
That's
I mean,
true.
what is a sport? I mean, there are some things that they call sports that I'm not real sure they're sports.
Oh man, you just come up with a great idea. Dancing in the end zone championships.
We should do a whole special.
We
Oh,
Yeah, and just play a bunch of those crazy dances.
That we could. Hey, we wouldn't even have to be here. They could just show the just show the dancing.
I hate, you see those guys, and some of them are obscene or lewd or
Oh,
just
yeah.
nasty.
Oh
And
yeah.
I'm going, they had a guy pooping, like he was pooping. He was bending over like he was, I'm going, what?
Well, I can't believe that they would allow something like that to happen.
Well, you were on the button and they could switch pretty fast, but it happened. You
Well,
see it.
get off the pot and quit that crap. Let me tell you, I want to talk about sports. I don't want to talk about something that I don't think is a sport. And there's some things like curling. Curling is a sport practiced or it's an activity in the Olympics, in the Winter Olympics. Curling.
When's the last time you swept the floor in your house? Your wife could beat you at curling.
Well, that's just it. I mean, here you go. You're on the ice. You throw this big old honker of a thing down the court, and you got two people
You
running.
don't throw it. You slide it.
Well,
but
you
that's
slide
okay.
it, throw
If
it.
you threw it, you may go through the ice and all drown.
Okay. You run up to a line, you throw it, release it, and then you got two weird people running in front of it going with a broom. I don't understand the game, but I'm going to do this until it gets to the little red dot.
Okay, think of when the game was invented. Before television, before radio. It was a Saturday afternoon. The guys probably had a piece of metal from a farm equipment of some kind. And they think, let's slide that thing. And they go, when we slide it, it just keeps going. If we use brooms to rough up the ice, hey, we got a sport we can play.
Hey, it was probably done in a barn somewhere.
North Dakota, South Dakota, Minnesota, any us.
So that's where all the people are. Weird people are.
Well, I don't know about weird, but they love the sport.
But it's not a sport. I'm saying it's not a sport.
Is pickleball a sport?
Well, pickleball is a sport, and
Pickleball is a poor man's tennis. I love the game. I have fun with it, but I consider it more of a game. Like that. What is that game where they toss the bean bags? What is it called? No, really, what is it called?
well, there's a game called cornhole.
Cornhole, where they throw the bean bags into a little. I've seen stuff where people make people's faces with their mouth really big, and you throw it in there or in the eyes. But I mean, that's a sport, and it's on ESPN.
Yeah, I know that. Yes.
I'd rather watch 50-year-old fights than that.
Well, anyway, curling Curling is not a sport. Now, is surfing a sport?
It's a real day. It's dangerous. I don't think it's a sport as far as attendance. I mean, I don't know how many people watch it, but I would say, yeah, it's a sport. You have definite things you have to do and things you can't do.
So
Which
there's
is important
so
to me.
because is it a sport because it's dangerous?
Well, I think that helps a little bit. I don't think you see it in Missouri very often. I mean, now in Branson, Silver Dollar City, they have that surfing thing. You can actually surf on a little board. And
Is that
stuff.
at Whitewater?
Whitewater, right?
Oh, okay, Whitewater.
And yeah, and try it sometime. It's not as easy as it looks. I tell you, you shouldn't try it.
I shouldn't
you
try
don't know how
because
to swim.
I will drown in 2 feet of water.
Yeah, that's right.
It could happen to me. But so I can understand surfing being a sport, but if danger is the thing that qualifies
Well,
it,
not just danger, but I mean, it's hard. It's not easy. Bull riding. What did anybody ever think of to make bull riding a sport except the fact that it was incredibly hard and very dangerous? Why
That's
else would
true.
you ride a bull?
because you're stupid.
And I love it. I had an old friend of mine, a girlfriend, whose husband they raised bulls for hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Oh yeah, those things are worth millions.
You know, I mean, you can make some money on that stuff. We run from chickens. I mean,
Hey, I
you
had
never
a,
running from that hog that time at the fair.
oh yeah,
that hog
because it
got
was a
loose.
big hog.
That hog got loose in the pens, and we were looking at all the animals. That
That-
hog started chasing us.
Hog running should have been a sport. Let me
Yeah.
tell you, it could be a sport as far as I'm concerned.
Oh,
But yeah, I
man.
had you mentioned bull riding, and I had a cousin who that's what he did. He was on the rodeo circuit and rode bulls for a living, and I mean he had some bad bones. I mean,
My uncle Mike rode bulls in a rodeo, and it broke his ankle, and he always walked a limp after that.
yeah. So there's some things out there, and we'll talk in weeks ahead about things that may be or may not be considered a sport.
Wrestling,
But,
professional
yeah,
wrestling, is
wrestling.
sports entertainment. That's the best thing that Vince McMahon ever came out with is sports entertainment. We're not saying it's a sport. We're saying it's sports entertainment. You enjoy watching this. And the one thing about professional wrestling is people die young. 45, 55, 50, they die young, beat up and young.
A lot of broken bones, a lot of
a lot of concussions, a lot of guys having I loved in my lifetime Dusty Rhodes. He made me the American
the
Dream.
American Dream.
I loved him. It just, and I got compared. The newspaper reporter said this to make me mad, and he said that John Penny had Dusty Rhodes' boxing style. It's because I was a rough fighter.
Yeah.
And I took that and I wrote the newspaper reporter a thank you note because I loved Dusty Rhodes. He won most of his matches and I loved him. I thought he was a great showman. I go, I'm not much of a showman when I box, but I don't want to lose. And I fight as hard as the guy fights me, I fight.
Well, you know, years ago at the Shrine Mosque, they would have those wrestling matches.
Yes, they would.
And you would have, and you'd have some great wrestlers that would come in. I mean, Dusty Rhodes would be there, and you'd have a
young Dusty Rhodes.
A young Dusty Rhodes. Gorgeous George. Remember Gorgeous George?
I saw
all
him
that
wrestle there.
flowing blonde hair.
Bleach blonde,
but it was blonde. But he was a great, and he had that big old beautiful.
You know, that's who Muhammad Ali went to go see the wrestling matches in Louisville. And he said, if I can do that, make people mad at me too, at the same time that other people love me, I'll get big crowds.
That's right. That's right. Now, one of my favorites was, and I used to watch them on TV on Saturday nights at midnight. Our family would gather and we would gather around the TV.
Yeah.
And it'd be Saturday Night Wrestling.
That's right.
With and one of the wrestlers, you had great wrestlers. You had Danny Hodge.
who I dated his daughter for a while.
Oh my goodness.
And she told me as a boxer, he'd have beat me up, and as a wrestler, he'd kill me.
Yeah, he would have got the squeeze on you.
Oh, he was tough, man. He was a great boxer, and he was a professional boxer, turned to professional wrestling, and he made a lot more money. He was the champion for 15 years, I think, or
10
something.
consecutive years in a row. He was
Wow.
the world junior heavyweight
Champion.
champion. I saw him live
I did too.
at the Shrine Mosque.
Yeah,
His hands,
big.
oh gosh. I mean, he was famous for taking an apple and
Yes,
squeezing it.
and put the pulp.
Oh yeah. But he was just a great guy, and
He'd take somebody on. We'll both squeeze apples. He's got the strongest grip.
yeah.
He won like 99% of those things.
I remember at the end of the TV show, the guy would always say, "Watch out for flying chairs."
That's right. I loved it. My mom and I would watch that. I thought it was so. I believed it was true. The assassins.
Oh.
I love the assassins. They were real dirty, but man, they were mean. It was great. Wore masks.
You're always
I
trying to
love
get the
those.
mask off the guy.
Yeah. Sputnik Monroe.
Oh, hey, how about that guy, the Iron Sheik?
He was a bad guy in all sorts of territories, wrestling territories. He was a great bad guy.
But he was a nice guy in real life.
Yeah, real life.
In real life, he was a nice guy. And then one of my favorites was Oni Wiki Wiki.
I remember him, one of the first Hawaiian wrestlers.
I
or
think he was Japanese wrestler
Japanese?
and always wrestled barefoot.
Yeah.
And you see those, he'd get on that top wire and jump out there with
They
that
call
jump
those
kick.
ropes.
Well, whatever. Rope, wire.
Barbed wires. Barbed wire.
I didn't
It's
say
real
I
tough
wrestled.
wrestling.
I said I loved wrestling. But the Iron Sheik and the Assassin. And then later on, you come along and here comes Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
What a marketing
Oh,
tool
and showman.
he was.
Yeah.
He was great. You had, of course, Ric Flair.
Ric Flair was the greatest of all time, I believe.
Yeah, and he's and now his wife is on, or not his
No,
wife, his daughter.
His
His daughter is on WWE.
Probably the greatest woman wrestler of all time. And there's a lot of old ladies that are wrestling professional. I met a couple of them in Kansas City. I knew a guy, a friend of mine, a comedian, whose mom was a professional wrestler. And I said, so if your mama told you to go to bed, he goes, I'd run to bed. You didn't make mama mad. I'll tell you that right now.
There's probably a couple of older women wrestlers who could probably take us down pretty
today,
quick.
right now. Professional wrestlers, Jack Dempsey, one time was asked in the Second World War to train fighters hand to hand against the Japanese.
Yeah.
He went out and he got a couple of boxers, but he got 8 professional wrestlers. And the guy that from the Army or the Navy said, what is this? You got all wrestlers. He says, boxers know how to knock a guy out. These wrestling guys, if professional wrestling was legitimate, everybody will be dead or crippled within 2 weeks.
Yeah, because it's a rough sport. We just enjoyed wrestling so much.
So I don't consider it a sport, but I consider it the like I said, the entertainment, sports entertainment. I do believe it's like that because it's very entertaining to some people. My wife hates it, and I tell you, my daughter and her husband refuse to let my grandson watch it with me.
What?
She says no. I don't want him doing that at school.
Oh my goodness! I tell you, I got a niece and nephew. They go to all the big
Really?
events up in Kansas City, and when they come to Springfield, they're probably one of the first ones in line, and they love that stuff. And it's great. It's a great entertainment.
The good thing about that was, in wrestling, you always had good winners and sore losers.
Yes.
You had guys that were, and in all sports they have that. But I mean, I've known some people that just couldn't carry off the losing in certain. They'd been on a football team like, Oklahoma. They went for years for being 10-0, 10-1, 10-2. You won 10 games. You know, Ohio State, UCLA, USC. I mean, Notre Dame. I mean, there was teams that would win 99% of their games.
Yes.
You know, and they were good winners,
Right.
but they didn't like that lose. And see, I boxed, and I lost 5 fights as a professional, 42 fights, and I hated losing. But I learned more from the losing fights than I ever did by winning the fights. I had to learn how to adjust and how to win, and I would force myself to do that. And I'd beat him the next time I fought him, every one of them. But that first time, I might get beat here. And
Well, the difference, I had 6 fights, and I lost 2 fights. And when I lost the second fight, I knew that I needed never to fight again because.
Well, the crowd took a vote.
Hey, and I lost. But yeah, it's here's the thing about losing and winning. I think in order to be there's certain attributes. You can be a winner or you can be a wiener. A wiener
Okay.
is someone who doesn't know how to lose.
Has complaints about it, makes excuses about losing.
Oh, I can name, and I will name. I think probably LeBron James is probably one of a wiener. He doesn't like to lose, and he doesn't know how to lose gracefully.
Right. Well, I think that's true.
You know, some people learn, they know how to lose gracefully.
Well, but, you know, when you get into professional sports, you're, like they say, they talk about the money. But I made $63 million this year. Well, good for you. I'm really happy for you, and I'm happy for your kids and your grandkids coming up. But I play the game. It's like pickleball. I love the game. I really enjoy it. I do. But I want to play the best that I can play.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I'm not saying I'm a great player at all. What I'm saying is I want to get better. And does that make me a bad player or a bad loser or bad? No. I don't yell and scream. I don't throw my racket.
No.
I don't do that. I don't do that. Somebody complained about me, which was a lie, that I threw rackets at Cooper Tennis, and that's a lie. I never threw rackets at Cooper Tennis.
Right.
And it was a lie. And,
Well,
you know, you get mad about it. People hear about that and go, I don't want to play a penny. What?
yeah. Yeah, because you get a reputation.
Right.
And that's the thing. I think some of these people have a reputation as being a sore loser or a wiener, as I would call them. But others, they've learned how to. They're competitive. They win most of the time,
Right.
and occasionally they have a loss, and they know how to handle that.
Right. 'Cause, you know, what I want to do is, like when you and I played pickleball. Now, you and I beat a man and a woman. The girl is really cute, beautiful girl. The guy was a good player, good-looking guy. You know, they were great. They were a really good team, and we beat them 11-2 at pickleball.
Yeah, I
And
remember that.
They were stunned. I mean, everybody that was watching us was stunned, but we beat them. That meant more to me that day, especially, than any other victories I had before that. They would show off beating people. They would, you know, well, beat some boys club boys. Come on.
You go. There you go.
You know, come on.
But we had, I mean, like you said, there were times when we won,
Times
and
lost.
we'd celebrate, but there were times when we lost, but we learned some things
Right.
in the losing
us
process.
better.
Made us a better pickleball player. And yeah, just like.
And it went like that way in boxing. I mean, Dwayne started boxing because I was boxing. And we were the best friends, so we hung around each other as much as we could. And Dwayne said, well, I'll box like John. Well, that wasn't his sport. Dwayne was a better baseball player than I was, I thought, and a lot better basketball player than I was. But I could foul better than him. But other than that, I wasn't that good a basketball player.
Yeah, well, you're telling the truth there. I just thought,
Yeah.
hey, I like that. You know,
Yeah,
hey,
yeah.
yeah, he's telling the truth. I was a better basketball player. than he
But we
was.
played how many hundreds and hundreds of games against each other, just one on one. I mean, and it got us in shape. It kept us in shape, and we would do what we're doing right now. We would walk from the boys' club home after 9 o'clock, and we walked through Berg's parking lot, which is now Mercy, or no,
No, it's Cox.
no, it's Cox.
Cox North.
We'd walk through the parking lots, and we would keep walking. We walk past the girl's house.
Picking up.
No,
Picking up.
let's just leave that alone. But we would just walk and walk, and we would talk for. It took 40 minutes to walk home, and we were like 2.5 hours away, or 2.5 miles away.
I'm starting to say.
Yeah, 2.5 miles away, and it would take us 30, 40 minutes to walk home, and we would talk the whole way. And that's how that's how we become the best of friends. That's how this show got started.
Yeah, just sitting around talking sports and things like that.
And we were always Cardinal and Cub fans. Always, I was a Steeler fan later on in life, but Dwayne was a Cowboy fan.
I was a Cowboy fan. Tom Landry.
We both loved the Celtics.
Yeah,
We both loved the Celtics.
Yeah, we did, and they were a great team, and we'll be talking about those in a future show as well.
But we're having that football thing pretty soon. A whole show on football.
Yeah, can't wait for that to happen. That'll be soon. But we got, there's some sports that we kind of have favorite players at and things like that. So let's talk about our favorite of all time. And
so what are you going to call them? Because they have goats. They have the greatest of all time.
Votes. We'll call them
Votes?
Votes. F-O-A-T-S. Votes.
The favorites of all time. Everyone should have votes. Everyone.
I've got some votes down the road here.
But I think I had my favorite baseball player of all times. I grew up watching him was Ernie Banks.
Oh, Mr. Cub.
A man who loved the game, lived to play it, and was great at it. And I still love him. I got to meet him, and baseball, that's my favorite baseball player.
Yeah, but you have other favorites as well, don't you?
I have guys that I liked a lot, but Ernie was my favorite.
Well, Mickey Mantle was my favorite.
What a player.
I had as a youngster, I was a Yankee fan because you saw him on TV every Saturday. So you knew all the players.
Right.
You knew Joe Pepitone was on first base, Bobby Richardson,
Tom Tresh,
Tony Kubek was at shortstop, and
third base. Ken Boyer was at third base a long time, or Clete Boyer.
Yeah. And so we I loved those Yankee teams, and of course Mickey was in center field, Maris in right field, and I can't remember who was in left field for the Yankees, but
he was good. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. There were some great times when Mantle would come up.
Well, you probably remember Duke Snyder playing center field.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No.
No, what, Babe Ruth?
That was a different team, I think. But anyway, but Mantle.
Yeah, he was a Dodger.
Mantle was a man or boy from a small town in Oklahoma. I think it was Broken Arrow, Oklahoma.
He played in Springfield growing up.
He played at the old White Ballpark,
right.
And I'm not saying white. Just the name of the park was called White Ballpark, and over on the north side of Springfield, I believe it was at the time. So, but he played here, but he played the game the way it ought to be played.
But he was he had a great arm. He was a great hitter. And hit both ways, left and right-handed. Yeah. He was a great fielder, and he was a great base stealer. I mean, he was a 4-weapon ball player.
Oh, he was fantastic in what he could do in the field and throw out runners.
Yeah.
Hit those home runs like you said, using that short porch at Yankee Stadium for those left-handed bombs that he would blast. But Mantle was just epitomized what I thought is just a ball player from the old school ball player.
Right. I loved a story they told on TV one time where Mickey was hired by a guy's wife, to come to his 50th birthday. The guy wasn't a ball player; he was just a guy. And the birthday party was going on. There was a knock on the door, and his wife says, "Go get that." So he went to the door to open it up. It was Mickey Mantle, and he started crying.
Yeah.
And Mickey Mantle said, "No, buddy, but if you cry, I'm going to start crying." So that tears were in Mickey's eyes. And it was just, it wasn't giving your husband or your kid stuffed animal. It was getting him a gift he remembered the rest of his life.
Oh, yeah, memory.
You know what I mean?
Memory.
When I met Ernie Banks in that golf course, I cried, and I was 40 some odd years old. I don't care. I cried. It meant so much to me.
Yeah.
That I got to meet him.
Oh, I know whenever, and this is a different sport, different situation, but when I met Payne Stewart at Highland Springs and he autographed my hat.
Oh, yeah.
That was a big day for me because I love Payne Stewart.
What a great golf. We should do a show sometime about Springfield athletes, the great ones.
Yeah, we could do that. Maybe that'll be suggested by some of our viewers. We got baseball World Series coming up here pretty quick. Since we just talked a little bit about baseball and our favorites, who's your favorite to go into the World Series this year?
Dodgers.
They've got some top-notch players
and get some good pitching.
Yeah, and that pitching is going to be important down the stretch. The Dodgers aren't even close to the top of the division. It's really weird. Yeah, the division is being the leader in the West Division is the San Francisco Giants.
Well, that's the Dodgers' enemies. I mean, basically, Houston. Where are they at now? They're in the American League, don't they?
They're in the American League West, and they're leading their
That's
division.
the team that I don't like.
I know it, and we know why.
They cheated.
They cheated, and they got to hold the World Series trophy up in the air, and they cheated. They ought to be punished for cheating the way they did.
It's over now. You can't do it now.
Well, you could do it, but it wouldn't look good.
No.
Baseball could make a little asterisk or something like that.
I want to see Joe Jackson get into the Hall of Fame before I want to see the Houston win another World Championship.
Oh, absolutely. So I'm really hoping that they aren't in the playoffs.
Right.
But you've got Tampa Bay leading the East, American League East.
I boxed in Tampa.
Yes, I know.
I was there 7 years, 8 years, and I like Tampa. The people are very nice, great people, and they have the biggest cockroaches in the world. So palmetto bugs.
Palmetto bug.
I'm boxing. I'm staying in a trailer with 4 Puerto Ricans who were some great guys, but they were boxers too. We all stayed in the trailer. Well, one day I'm sitting there. I'm reading a Sports Illustrated, watching a baseball game on TV, and the biggest roach I've ever seen in my life is crawling on the TV screen. And
he was changing the channel.
I rolled the Sports Illustrated up, and I went, bam, and I hit that roach. And that roach looked at me and flew right in my face.
Oh, a flying roach.
I was screaming like a baby. They flew. I mean, they were on palm trees, and they were just unbelievably big. I actually shot at them at a friend's house with a BB rifle.
Oh.
Just to kill them. I'd shoot them with the BB rifle.
That's pretty bad.
Hey, it was hard to mount them.
Hey, you could do it though. If anyone can.
Man, I'm telling you, they were the biggest cockroaches I've ever seen in my life. But other than that, Florida was great.
Oh, great experience. Except the 4 o'clock rain every day. You got rain every day.
Oh, man.
4 o'clock, monsoon rain.
When it rains in Florida, it rains.
But, we've got Tampa Bay leading the East. Chicago White Sox are leading the Central Division. And then, of course, the Astros in the American League are leading the West. Now, in the National League, you've got the Philadelphia Phillies, which is they say is one of the hottest teams in baseball right now, leading the East, NL East. The NL Central is being led by the Milwaukee Brewers of all teams, and then the West is by the San Francisco Giants. So it could, one of those, some of those three teams, could end up with the
You want to know the difference between Chicago Cubs and Milwaukee?
what?
They have pitching in Milwaukee. They went out and
Oh.
got pitching. The Cubs, who have all the money in the world with the Tribune or whatever it is, the newspaper,
Chicago
and
Tribune.
the owners of the Cubs now are wealthy beyond belief. No pitching. They don't go out and get anybody. They got one guy that ended up going to another team. I'm just tired of it.
I know the Cubs are kind of a thorn in your side right now.
You tell me to play the game to win. I'm on your team. Help me.
Yeah,
Give me your pitchers. You got to have a closer now.
bring a player that
You
can-
have to have a closer that throws over 100 miles an hour. At least one of them can throw over 100. You have to have that. If you're going to be in the playoffs and you're going to have a chance to win the whole thing, you have to have these people.
You talk about needing a closer. I mean, the Cardinals. Look what happened to them the other day. They had a pitcher. They had a man on second base. They bring in a closer, and he's a good young man. I don't fault the pitcher at all.
You didn't
But,
say that last week.
however, well, I've had a change of heart. I've calmed down a little bit.
Okay.
But here you had a pitcher. He comes in. You got a man on second base. The first batter he faces, he hits him, and he goes to first base. To me, as a manager, I would start to think, oh, maybe he doesn't quite have it tonight. So the next batter he faces, he walks him. Now, as a manager, I'm talking to my pitching coach, and I'm saying maybe we need to think about what's going to happen here next. Third batter, he walks that batter.
Loads the bases?
Loads the bases. I am going out there and talking to that pitcher and letting him know he's coming out.
2 pitches, not 4. 2 pitches. If
Yeah.
they're both balls, you're coming out.
Yeah. So then you had the third batter. He walked him also. So you scored another run. In all, they walked 4 batters in a row. The manager didn't come out and pull him until the 5th batter. And I'm sitting there livid because I think the manager needed to make a decision to pull him just a little bit earlier because I think it hurt the pitcher also.
Sure, it puts more doubt into his head. You don't need doubt. After that second player's been walked, you got to walk out there and say, hey, if you don't have it today, let me know. Don't show me heroics. Show me how to win. We got to keep these guys from scoring.
Well, and the other thing that happened, of course, was the fact that at the trade deadline, the Cardinals bring in, I think I mentioned earlier, John Lester, and then also they bring in some guy, his last name is Happ, Happ. They're both
Dwarves.
Yeah, they're both old is what they are. They're both 38, 39 years old, and they can't
There's
seem to hit
Hap,
the strike zone.
And there's Grump, and there's
Oh, yeah. They're sleepy also.
sleep.
Which is out in the
just sleep, not
just sleep,
sleepy.
not sleepy, but sleep. But the problem is the Cardinals are walking people at a rate of the speed
Hey,
of
you
sound.
told me that. Give me a couple statistics here because I couldn't believe that.
Oh, the Cardinals are walking players at a rate. If the bases are loaded, they have walked about 26 batters in
For a free run?
for a free run.
Wow.
26 batters have been walked. 26 walks have been allowed in the Cardinals, which leads the league. I think the next closest team is like 19 or something like that. But it's astounding. And they also lead the league in the number of walks they have. So they got rid of one pitcher who was walking every other batter. John Gann, he went to Chicago. Actually, he's playing for Chicago now.
He wants to come home.
There you go. But yeah, there's some things that Cardinals need to do. A lot of chanting of Mo needs to go. They're talking about John Mazalak. And I think maybe the manager and the pitching coach need to have a little bit of change of direction also.
I think so. I think that if it's not working, it's what Casey Stengel said years ago. If it's not working, change it. If it's working, let it alone.
Yeah.
You know, you have, but baseball players, man, all athletes anymore, they're making so much money. They don't want coaching almost. They want to be left alone. They want to be able to do what they want to do. It's a team sport, man. And you should be in the Olympics and everything else. If you're on a team, you play for the team.
Right.
Now, we want you to have good statistics, of course. But if you're a team, you show up, you play as hard as you can, whatever it is. That's how you play the game.
Yeah, and I don't care if a person wants to be the very best. I want them to be the very best they can be in their sport. But I also want them to consider
moving the guy to second base would be nice nowadays.
Yeah, sacrifice yourself every once in a while.
Sacrifice.
I don't care if you're batting 300, you have 26 home runs. Bunt the runner over so he can get in scoring position.
Exactly. It's something that we have a chance to win the game. The individual statistics are great to look at, but you're got the warm fuzzy feeling because you've won the series or you've won the Super Bowl or basketball when you win those games. I mean, to me, my favorite teams I ever saw play basketball were the Boston Celtics and the New York Knicks, that 2 years that they won, where they had Willis Reed and Earl Pearl and all these players.
Nate Archibald.
And they passed the ball. It was hit. Their motto was hit the open man. And they'd pass the ball. Nowadays, basketball is let's get 2 feet from the quarter line and we'll shoot the three-pointer. And they got guys that can make it, and God bless them. I believe that kid, Steph Curry may be the best single shooter I've ever seen in my life.
He can shoot from 40 feet and hit nothing but net.
I've seen him take one step over the half-court line and sink a basket.
Yeah, he's an amazing player.
But that doesn't make – it doesn't matter how much you practice. It doesn't mean you can do that. If you're under 40% or 30% for that shot, you pass the ball. Move inside, get your basket.
Yeah, and in baseball, if you're batting 300, 350, and you've got 28 home runs, it ain't going to make no difference if you're sitting at home at when the World Series is going on.
How about the shift? You've got 3 guys on the right side of the baseball field or left side, and you won't bunt it down this field, put 2 players into, and you'll probably be on first base.
More than likely, you'll be on second base. I've seen it happen. I've seen a guy bunt it in the left field.
That's true. That was a terrible. That's how not to play baseball.
But if I was that batter, I would do that every time until they brought the shift back over.
Number one, you don't get charged for it at bat because it's a sacrifice. Number 2, you have a chance to get in the base hit. Yeah. And the ball never leave the infield.
Absolutely. And you can be a star without being the guy that hit the ball out of the park. Just be a part of the team. Make it a team win, not an individual win.
I don't think Pete Rose ever did anything. He wanted to be a star and everything else, but I don't think he did anything that ever hurt the team that they would not win. Everything he did was to win the game. Now, I'm not saying
he gambled on baseball. He gambled on a team, and that hurt him statistically as far as the Hall of Fame is concerned. But he played
he never
the game.
bet against his team.
No, never bet against his team. He always bet.
And I don't even like Pete Rose. He's not my favorite player. He wasn't my favorite player on that team.
He's one of my favorites out of several I have. Hank Aaron, Pete Rose. all those guys, they mean a lot to me as far as old school baseball.
Let's wrap it up.
Why don't you wrap it up?
Well, I wrapped it up last week. I said
Well,
the
how did
last thing.
Well, how did you wrap it up?
I wrapped it up well.
Do
is
you
how I
even know
wrapped
how to wrap it? Are you going to do some rapping?
No, you don't want me.
I thought you were-
In fact, they told me no singing at all.
I think you need
was
to get out
told
of here.
no singing. Let's get out of here,
Yeah.
man. I tell you, but it's my call.
No, it's not your call.
It is my call today.
It's your call.